Anthony Joshua resurrected, says Deontay Wilder was exposed and annihilated by Tyson Fury. And we're going to talk about it. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Patreon is back up and running. I have revamped it. I have refreshed it. Did a major overhaul. Shout out to the people who have signed up. I'm going to be taking a lot of the live content over there, you know, especially during this pandemic, and give back to the Patreons and the channel members who are supporting the channel in a phenomenal way. Speaking of supporting the channel, another great way to support the channel is to click the link in the description box of all of my videos and get that ESPN Plus bundle. That includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all three of those apps for one price, $12.99 a month, and maybe help you get through this quarantine lockdown where you get some more content. Now, Anthony Joshua, he's, you know, resurfaced, and you guys will see on the screen. AJ says Fury exposed and annihilated Wilder. That's his opinion. I want to go over some of his quotes and, you know, give my thoughts to what Anthony Joshua had to say after, you know, I haven't really heard much from Joshua in general. But for this, I will use my trusted assistant, Money Penny.
Maybe I would have probably taken it to Deontay Wilder a bit more. Anthony Joshua reveals his reaction to Tyson Fury's win over Deontay Wilder in an exclusive Sky Sports interview. Anthony Joshua believed Tyson Fury could expose and annihilate Deontay Wilder and revealed how he would have enforced his own aggression against the American. Britain holds all the world heavyweight titles after Fury was crowned as the new WBC champion following a sensational stoppage win over Deontay Wilder in February. While Joshua regained his WBA Super, IBF and WBO belts with a commanding points victory over Andy Ruiz Jr. in December, Joshua expected Fury to end Wilder's explosive reign as WBC title holder, as he felt the Bronze Bomber was too reliant on his destructive right hand.
See, the funny thing is, the one thing I disapprove of in boxing is people act like they know it all after the fact once a outcome is rendered in the world of boxing. What I mean is, like, people will wait till the fight outcome, and, you know, once it's revealed what the outcome is and who wins and who the victor, then everyone acts like they knew that was going to be the case. Joshua just said he expected Fury to end Wilder's explosive reign as WBC title holder. But if you listen to interviews of Joshua talking about Wilder Fury 2 and giving his predictions, he didn't sound all too confident. He might have said Fury will win, but he was also saying that, oh, Wilder has a great chance and stuff like that. But now in this write-up, in this article, they're making it sound like he knew all along that Tyson Fury was to beat him. And I just find that ironic. And it's not just Joshua. This is a lot of fans, you know, a lot of fans. They'll act like they're in the know, and they knew the outcome. But if you knew so much, why didn't you have a heavy wager? You know, if you knew, especially in like fights where there's an upset or a perceived upset, it's like, why didn't you wager some money on that particular outcome if you knew so much? But that's what goes on in boxing. Money Penny, back to you.
I believe Tyson Fury could potentially do what he done, Joshua exclusively told Sky Sports. I just felt like Deontay Wilder is a formidable ex-champion and has a chance to come back. But I just knew that when he gets to the top level, it will be difficult, because it's one thing getting there and it's another thing staying there. I always believed that when you go to war, you can't have one weapon in your arsenal, which was his right hand. We've seen in some of his fights, it's been difficult for him and then he lands his punch and he's been victorious. But I always believed that when you go to war, you can't have one weapon in your arsenal, which was his right hand. Once that was taken away from him, which Tyson Fury did. I'm not going to go into tactics, but he was able to annihilate Deontay Wilder and expose him for some of his weaknesses. Tyson Fury did a great job tactically and I'm looking forward to their rematch. Fury displayed more attacking ambition from the start of his second fight with Wilder. who was forced into reverse by a succession of right hands before the fight was halted in the 7th round. Joshua has suggested that Wilder could not implement the same back foot boxing that he used to nullify Ruiz Jr. in their rematch, meaning that the Alabama man struggled to withstand aggressive tactics. In terms of doing something similar, I wouldn't have done what he, Fury, done in the first fight, said Joshua. Maybe I would have probably taken it to Deontay Wilder a bit more, because I don't think Deontay Wilder has been taught to box on his back foot.
So he's giving all these, breakdowns of what he feels, what happened, and, I'll let him finish.
He doesn't know how to flow and move side to side, and move back and control the fighter. When Tyson Fury was edging forward, on back foot balance, Deontay Wilder was struggling to move forward with his right hand. It proved to be a very difficult fight for Deontay Wilder in the end. Anthony Joshua says Tyson.
So that's all from what Anthony Joshua said. It proved to be this is kind of like Captain Obvious stuff. Like, yeah, we know it was a difficult fight because he lost it, The other thing is, some people, this is just my opinion, I think Fury firmly won or whatever. There's no real disputing that. But people are saying he got annihilated. Like, to me, I don't look at it as he got destroyed and annihilated. The man had something clearly wrong with, like, when in the 3rd round, he looked like he never really recuperated. If you look at the first 2 rounds, and again, you could take my word for it, say I'm just biased for Wilder, I don't care. But watch the first 2 rounds. You could say, okay, Fury won, Wilder didn't do bad in those rounds. You see what I'm saying? Like, the fight was really competitive and is kind of edgy. You didn't know what was going to happen exactly in those first 2 rounds. And then after he got that first knockdown, it looked like it went all downhill for Wilder. So, he says the suit was heavy. It just looked like he had a bad night in the office, to be honest. But, people are enjoying this win for Tyson Fury. And me personally, I didn't see all this like pure destruction. Like, for me, I think more of a destruction would be like fights like Mayweather versus Gotti, Diego Corrales, Mayweather, Canelo, where, like, from a boxing standpoint, a person skillfully or just brutally knock somebody out, things like that. I think Wilder, he didn't, like, it's hard to explain with this fight, but what I seen in the fight, even when Wilder was getting knocked down, he didn't really look traumatically hurt. You see what I'm saying? I watch a ton of boxing, as you guys know. He didn't seem like he was just so badly hurt. He looked like he was frustrated more so because his legs weren't cooperating with him. That's what I really seen. It looked like his legs were shot for whatever reason. Maybe it was the punch. Maybe, maybe he's saying it was the suit. Maybe it was just the placement of the punch. And that's what it was. But I seen a fighting man who was literally willing to go out on his shield to the point where he didn't, he was upset at his own corner for stopping the fight. And, that's what it was. And then Tyson Fury got the stoppage from the corner. So he did his thing. But, as far as Joshua, he's saying he got destroyed and decapitated, and he knew, and he was annihilated. I think Wilder's still a problem if he's mentally put together. I think he'll still be definitely a formidable opponent. It looked like Wilder had an off night, no more, no less. Looked like something was wrong with his legs. He looked kind of just out of sorts, if you will. So people, they're going to feel whatever they want. They're going to count Wilder off, which is good, because when boxing comes back, I can't wait for it to come back. But when it does come back, I might even wager some money on Wilder because the odds are going to be crazy because people look at that performance. Boxing is a what have you done for me lately sport. So they're looking at his last performance like, oh, he's done. I knew he was going to get exposed, and, they're going to be saying the same stuff with Joshua. I respect boxing too much to agree with Joshua and his comments because I think they're kind of Captain Obvious and just real basic. Like, boxing fans and boxers and people who assess boxing, I notice one thing, a common thread, is they always go for the low-hanging fruit, that which is the easiest to access. So the easiest thing to access would be look at the performance. It was a bad night, bad performance by Deontay Wilder, and just write him off. As opposed to say, okay, he could correct some things, and he still has that dangerous power, and he's going to be trying to get his belt back, and he's not going to be wearing a suit or any other reason. So maybe this woke his game up. People aren't even looking at that option, but that's the part of boxing. It is what it is. We gonna see. Now Wilder has nothing to lose. He ain't had no belt. The pressure changes. The pressure changes when you have that type of performance because the expectations are now lowered. So Joshua even said in the article, "Oh, I'm looking forward to the third fight," because I think Joshua in his heart knows that you can't write him off. So he's talking about, oh, Wilder can't do this and move off the back foot. And I knew at the high level it was going to be hard and different. I mean, this is just common sense stuff. Of course, at the highest level, if you're in the Super Bowl going against Tom Brady, somebody with that type of experience, then it's going to be hard. If you're playing the Kansas City Chiefs or San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs, it's going to be hard. I mean, this is just what Joshua said. It's just real common sense, common sense stuff at the hardest level. And it really didn't have nothing to do with Deontay Wilder having, did only a right hand and all this stuff. That's just a fact. No matter who you are, at the highest elite level, it gets tougher. If you're at the welterweight, if you're at the top of the welterweight division, you got to fight Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao, Terrence Crawford. It's going to be harder. I mean, it's just really basic stuff here. But we'll see how it plays out. We obviously have to get back to a point where boxing can be aired and ran, or at least with no crowd. I mean, I don't know. I don't know when this stuff will end, but I'm looking forward to it. Deontay Wilder just did another interview, and like I said, the good thing for Wilder is the fact that the fight is not happening so soon because of the pandemic. So if Wilder is smart, he can use this extra time because contractually they were going to go into the third fight by July. And that would have been another quick turnaround because he fought in November against Luis Ortiz in a rematch. And then he came right back and fought in February. So fighting from February, late February to July, that would have been another quick turnaround. So Wilder, if he's wise, he would be using this time to get his mind right. I mean, there's nothing else to do. Self-quarantine. I know he was going to go to Africa, but I don't know if his plans got canceled because of this pandemic. It probably did, So use this time and utilize it well to get yourself together, get yourself right, stay in shape, and you have a phenomenal opportunity to set some things right because people are already writing you off. And that's not a bad spot to be in life. For me, I can attest to this personally. In life, I love when people count me out, because when it's all over and I prove you wrong, I get to look at you in your eyes and told you, so I don't mind being almost underappreciated or the underdog in a situation, because it's just more motivation for me to prove people wrong. And I'm not saying that's the only motivation. I obviously have different motivators like family and other personal things that I prioritize, but it don't feel bad either when you get to prove people wrong. So I think this trilogy could end up being a saga like Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. I really do. You see this picture right here. And the other thing is Fury, to me, I personally don't trust Fury. So I think Fury, he's just like kind of a weird character. And that being said, Fury is a person who, to me, it's like he kind of thrives off of challenges and things like that. And the way he allegedly, according to Joshua, annihilated Wilder, he beat him. He beat him solidly. But the way he beat him, I really feel Fury may go into this fight thinking this is a for sure thing. You see what I'm saying? Because I think you notice certain guys are like that. Like they fight to their competition level. You see what I'm saying? Like you look at Fury, he's had worse. He looked better versus Wilder too than he did versus Otto Wallin, obviously, because he stopped somebody's 10 title defense reign and undefeated 40 whatever fight reign, and he was able to get the stoppage. You see what I'm saying? So he obviously looked better. But Otto Wallin was a person he was supposed to, easily get past to advance to this Wilder fight. So some guys are like that. Now that he destroyed and annihilated, according to Joshua Wilder, then I don't know if Tyson Fury's motivation will be quite the same. Versus Wilder's motivation is probably going to be crazy, because this is a risky fight, and he knows he's going to have to win this one. That's just the way boxing goes. You don't want to take 2 back-to-back losses. Like Joshua, he knew he had to win somehow, some way versus Ruiz, so he did what he had to do to win. Now Wilder might not wait, he might add someone to the team, etc. The other thing for the whole Joshua notion of, I got 2 more things about Joshua's notion about, he was destroyed and all that. One thing that I also disapprove of in boxing is when people watch someone else's work and then almost indirectly take credit and revel in somebody else's victory, especially when you're in the same division. I'm not talking about necessarily just like this fighter is your best friend and you're just rooting for your guy, but when you don't really have an allegiance to either guy, especially if they're in the same division as you, and you're actually acting like you somehow like vicariously are living through that person's achievement, that to me, that's kind of weak. That's kind of lame, and I feel like Joshua, if you listen to this article, he's like, I can't, he sounds like a fan, and I get it if you're a fan of boxing, but he says, I knew Fury would win, and Fury did this, and Fury annihilated him. I'm looking forward to the lot. Like, you're supposed to be in the conversation. You see what I'm saying? You're supposed to be in the conversation to fight both of these dudes, in your whole career. And you sitting up here sounding like more like just somebody that would be at the Box Fan Expo or something. You know what I mean? Like just a fan of boxing, and you're going to try to get an autograph or something like that. You're supposed to be in the conversation. You're supposed to fight Fury. If Fury wins again, Joshua's supposed to be the one. And you sound like you just, tickle pink over someone else's victory. So to me, that's kind of weak. Just like when Joshua said he would offer to help offered to help Tyson Fury train for Wilder and spar. It's that same type of behavior. Like, this is not a team sport. There's no crying in baseball. Like, to me, that behavior is weird. That's weird. I don't know if it's some UK stuff, but that behavior is weird when you're like almost acting like you're Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage, like this is a tag team match, like together y'all beat Wilder. You're like, oh yeah, like this, my buddy, you supposed to fight Tyson Fury, or you supposed to fight Wilder, you were supposed to fight Wilder, So to me, that behavior from Joshua is a bit weird, in the same vein, like I said, as when he offered to help Tyson Fury train for Wilder. It's like, and you're making it sound like you did this stuff to him. Yeah, Wilder just had a right hand and he was exposed. You didn't expose him. You keep talking about what someone else did. You had opportunities to fight Deontay the Braun Bomber Wilder when he was undefeated. And if you knew so much about his inability to do this or that, or him being exposed and vulnerable and a one-handed fighter and all this stuff you're saying, then why didn't you fight him? Why Povetkin? Why Joseph Parker? You could have, instead of all those fights, you could have fought him and showed us what Tyson Fury showed us. Now, the last thing with Tyson Fury, his achievement in destroying, another reason why I don't consider it like annihilation and destruction. You look at Tyson Fury, he is a behemoth, and this is fair, so I'm not saying he cheated on this, but the man had to come in 40, 50 pounds heavier than Wilder and lean on him and rabbit punch and step on his toes and stuff with a weight advantage. That's not what Floyd Mayweather does to have masterclass annihilations of guys. You see what I'm saying? Or Errol Spence. Errol Spence, when he fought Mikey Garcia, it didn't look like I was at the fight, didn't look like he rehydrated you know, 30, 40 pounds and was rabbit punching and leaning on the smaller mic. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't doing that. He beat him with pure ring IQ, savvy, boxing, a crispy jab, power, you know, and that gung-ho, just dog, that man down stuff. Tyson Fury, like I said, he purposely, you know, came in super heavy and was rough, you know, just real rough. I don't know. It's just, it wasn't like the cleanest stuff. You know what I mean? Like the in the trenches. But I will say this: if the referee it's within the rules. If the referee ain't said nothing, and bottom line is you got to learn how to fight through all of that. And I think that's what Wilder needs to work on. People, you know, you got to work. If a guy's being rough with you, you got to be rough with him right back. You know, I learned this from Floyd Mayweather's and Andre Ward's. So that is the constructive criticism for Deontay Wilder. Some guys are gonna, especially with this loss, they're gonna think, oh, shit's sweet, and all I have to do is rough him up and get past the power at first, and you know, do this and that. So he has to work. Wilder has to work diligently on that ability to, you know, you got all this power. You don't let somebody just get in there and rough you up and, you know, punch you in the clinch and stuff. You got to push them and muscle them around. And it's probably harder, you know, with a guy who's way 40, 50 pounds bigger than you, but, you know, use your footwork to the point where they can't get in the inside. You got to jab. You can't abandon your jab. You have to have a fresh set of legs, you know, just different stuff like that. So I can't wait for the trilogy. Let me know what you guys think. If you are new to the channel, consider subscribing. I post daily content, live streams, go cover fights live, all that good stuff. And, you know, you should enjoy the latest and greatest. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.